Let's break down how colorism impacts the main characters. Let's talk about Jason. Jason is again light brown, calm, empathetic, responsible, and the romantic hero. He is allowed to be emotionally expressive and soft, especially with Lyric, often pampering her. He is given the redemption arc and the promise of a hopeful future, ascending to a manager position at an electronics store in a different town. He is a complex character with an interesting story or background, constantly pushing for a better life for himself and his family. He receives numerous close-ups that clearly show his face and body. His choice not to engage in illicit activities also make him a uniquely respectable male figure in the film. She is desirable, guarded but feminine, portrayed with grace. She dreams of escape from their dead-end Texas town and the struggles of working at a restaurant. She is presented as symbolic of healing and female independence, though her brother's inappropriate jokes about her being uptight highlight her protected, almost hood princess status. She is a lead romantic interest, and her complex character is driven by her desire for liberation. And her styling, at least outside of work, is always meticulous. Her choice to align with Jason's economic upward mobility reinforces the societal dynamic of women seeking security. Joshua is dark skinned, depicted as angry, irrational, hot headed, a criminal, and an addict. He is individualized, largely self sabotaging, and he often mirrors his father's destructive, drunken, turned up behavior. He struggles to appease his mother, especially when she throws away money he brought home that she suspects is illegal. Joshua is often depicted as a follower, unhinged, and tragically consumed by his self loathing. His feelings of being overlooked or unloved are powerfully rooted in how he was perceived within his own home, particularly compared to his lighter brother, Jason. He largely serves as an antagonist to Jason's peaceful aspiration, reinforcing negative stereotypes, and is not given a viable romantic interest or a happy ending. Mad Dog, he's an abusive alcoholic, at times terrifying to his family, and ultimately a tragic figure. He's feared and hated, and his severe trauma from Vietnam is a subtle hint to this context, destroying him and his family. He is largely the villain who sets the trauma in motion. Next, I'm going to talk about Alonzo. He is dark skinned. He is depicted as a vicious criminal, hypersexual, and overly possessive of Lyric, even making incestuous jokes about her uptight and referencing her panties, which to me was weird, but whatever. He is primarily shown as a threat and a catalyst for violence. Jason's mother, Gloria, rest in peace to Suzanne Douglas, is also darker skinned, strong but weary, abused, and an overworked single mother. While depicted as beautiful and hopeful, her eyes are often dim due to tragedy, and she is overly concerned about her children, especially Joshua, and struggles with projecting disappointment because she again saw how his father ended up. The film highlights her resilience but provides no romantic subplot, reinforcing the strong black woman trope burdened by her circumstances. Gloria's subtle favoring of Jason, the lightest in the family, hints that this might impact the family's dynamic. The only time we see Gloria truly smiling and content is during Joshua's welcome home party, but her smile vanishes upon realizing he is drunk and fails to show up on time. This is a big contrast with her generally being more pleasant and content around her interactions with Jason. Her character is cut short, reinforcing a bit of a lack of agency beyond her maternal struggles. About Marty, who happens to be Lyric's best friend or homegirl. She is portrayed as a hot girl, flirty, sassy, curvy, and a good listener. While Lyric's intimate scene with Jason is romanticized and beautifully shot by a creek, a memorable depiction of lovemaking in an open, idyllic field, Marty is depicted having loud, rough sex with Alonzo in a dirty alley. This scene overtly lacks intimacy, focusing instead on Alonzo's dominance. What's particularly poignant is Marty's brief vulnerability in the restroom, acknowledging to Lyric that Jason's type of love is something she desires, but then quickly retreating from this vulnerability. She reaffirms her preference for her roughneck Alonzo, seeming to settle. This suggests that she believes ideal love isn't available to her, perhaps due to the perceived thrills and protection through Alonzo's illegal activities and fear he commands in the hood. This stark contrast in camera framing and narrative tone strongly reinforces how desire and womanhood are treated along color lines, stripping Marty's sexuality of emotional nuance and suggesting different avenues for love or partnership based on complexion. She serves a supporting role primarily for comic relief and is not given a complex character or a happy ending. The narrative consistently rewards Jason and Lyric, the two lightest cast members and leads, with love, redemption, and the possibility of escape. Their romantic scenes, particularly the memorable Creekside lovemaking, are beautifully lit, framed with softness, and scored to music that emphasizes emotional depth and intimacy. By contrast, Marty, darker, curvier, and more outspoken, is never given the same tenderness or complexity. This is more than plot convenience. It is a delivery contrast in how desire and womanhood are treated along color lines. So even the secondary and background characters reinforce these color-coded tropes. Jason's store manager is a light-skinned man who is professional, successful, and supportive, granting Jason promotions and affirming his growth. This character serves as a positive, upwardly mobile figure, contrasting with the limited opportunities elsewhere. The woman robbed by Joshua in her car is also light-skinned and well-dressed, reflecting a certain untouchable upper-class image that contrasts with the struggling community. She is a victim, but presented with a kind of protected dignity. Joshua's friend group, including Eddie Griffin's character, are all darker skinned. While often providing comic relief, they are still portrayed as reckless, foolish, and self-destructive. Griffin's character does stand out for his moral compass, trying to calm Joshua down and even apologizing to their mother. A realistic touch showing that not all black men are monolithic. However, even his attempts at grounding Joshua are ultimately short-lived and often undercut by the prevailing chaos. The message is clear. Light skin is tied to civility, upward mobility, and future potential, often receiving narrative protection and dignity. And dark skin is linked to dysfunction, impulsivity, and stagnation, often requiring them to prove their worth, often in vain. Joshua doesn't just represent the angry brother trope. He embodies the cost of unresolved trauma and internalized rejection. His drinking, violence, and criminal behavior are coping mechanisms, masking a child never properly loved or heard. According to Miller and Rollinick's addiction model, people often use substances not just to escape reality, but to soothe long-standing emotional wounds. Joshua is a tragic embodiment of this pain. What makes Joshua's story more tragic is that he's not evil, he's broken. He sees Jason's success as abandonment and fears that Jason's love for Lyric will sever their bond forever. Notably, upon his release from jail, Joshua shows no interest in pursuing romantic relationships. His focus is entirely on his get money schemes. The only time he demonstrates a fleeting interest in romance is when Lyric threatens to take attention away from him. His drunken intervention on Jason and Lyric's carousel date, where he comes on to Lyric, raises questions about whether he genuinely found her attractive or if it was a perverse attempt to prove to Jason that she wasn't a good woman, or simply to assert dominance. It becomes undeniably clear near the end of the movie that he held deep resentment for their romance, tragically inflicting pain upon Lyric, Jason, and basically himself. His lack of accountability and tendency to be a follower contribute to his downfall. He becomes obsessed with the idea that Jason might leave, fearing that no one else would love him. Beyond the subtle yet potent depictions of colorism, Jason's Lyric also critically examines the role of individual decision-making within a challenging environment. Jason and Lyric, despite growing up in similar circumstances, actively choose to go against the grain.